Hello, this is Brendan Brockway, and I'm presenting my creative for the Project 2, the procedural generation, and I did the dungeon generator. And this is just the pictures from earlier, which is the tutorial I followed, the game, which is Nuclear Throne / Wasteland Kings, and this is my research portion, which I generated levels using walkers to place tiles down and then iterating over the grid to place each individual floor or wall tile. And I had a player that didn't have collisions and also had very poor movement. And I did add the art that you will see in my creative during the research phase. So I just want to let that be known. Okay, let me demo it. Okay, so this is my current game. So as you can see, the levels themselves are a lot more interesting and complicated. I do still have some issues with some of the collisions. And this actually was a pretty difficult level, to be honest. Let me try another one. I have found that sometimes the player gets stuck on walls fairly easily, so I still need to do some just general polishing up on that, but I cannot find this last chest. I just want to get us to a windscreen before I end the game real quick. Struggling out here though. Must be missing one somewhere. Guess my here. I'm just gonna. I'm just gonna. I don't know why that was being so difficult, but okay. So as you can see, the let me just play it again just to show it. But so basically, in each level, you have to find the certain amount of chests, and you only have a certain amount of time to find them. And oh, there we go, windscreen. So basically, it's really just like a find it in the time kind of game. I do want to add some more to it and maybe later follow-ups, but as of now, this is the current state of the game. I think I've showed enough of the actual game. I'm going to look at the code a bit. So a lot of the code and how I developed the levels is still the same with the walkers and everything, but I just had I had a lot of things to add to it to get the timer and the chest list and just the chest to spawn and a lot of the other smaller mechanics. Had to get those in there. So let me go to where the chest is spawned, which is in the spawn level function that I just added a chest object and spawned it in the same method as I spawned the floor and the walls. And just trying to see some other substantial changes. I just had like an update and a fixed update to check the time and check if the game is won, which happens when the chest count equals 0. So basically, when you find all the chests, it'll either take you to a win screen or a lose screen. The player code, I think this is pretty much mostly the same, just a little more fine-tuned with the speed and whatnot. And this is the chest manager, which I've had a lot of issues with the scripts for this, so that's why a lot of this is kind of commented out. But basically, this chest manager is attached to the chest objects, and it uses the a static list that Jeremy showed me to kind of keep track of it without, because I was having trouble getting it to change it without the static being part of the list, because it was just not changing it, because it was deleting, the script was deleting itself each time I touched the chest. So I really needed to figure out that. luckily Jeremy helped me. So yeah, it checks if the chest has been touched, and then it'll change the sprite image, and then it'll remove the chest from the list. And this is just a simple, it'll load the create a scene. I attach this to the buttons in the win and lose screen. Back to the slides. So yeah, for my creative portion, I made the level more complicated. And most of this was just handled by making it bigger, because the way the code already worked, the more area there is to fill, the higher chance there will be for more walkers to spawn and more different paths. So theoretically, if you made it I only made it slightly larger, but if you made it to make it like 2 or 3 times bigger, it would be immensely complicated, almost too much in my opinion. But I didn't want to add that many because I felt like that kind of made the game more like a labyrinth than just like a small dungeon. I guess it could have some merit depending on the game mode, but for the current way the game is, I like it this size. So like I said, I added the win condition. And the chests randomly spawn, as you can see in this image. They're they basically just spawn in the same way as the floor and the walls, but they are They're like, I checked the is triggered box in the collision, so when you touch them, they disappear and uh, change the list. Oh yeah, and the camera now follows the player. I don't believe it did before, but I'm not 100% sure. Um, oh yeah, and I also added the UI elements along with the different scenes for the loss and win. And going forward, I would like to still make some changes to this project in the future for like follow-ups. I like to add an animations to the player and maybe to the chest as well. I didn't write that down, but I would like to do that. I'd also like to maybe add enemies, and I like to add music and then just polish up some of the clunkier mechanics, like how sometimes the player will get stuck on the walls occasionally, and a few other like just things that kind of bug me. But yeah, thank you.